2026 can be described as a year of beginnings. Numerologically, it reduces to 1 the number of initiation, direction, and personal agency. But beginnings are rarely gentle and easy. They don't arrive when we feel ready. They arrive when something can no longer remain the same. This video is not a prediction, it's an orientation. Because years like 2026 are not about what will happen. They're about how we move through what is already unfolding. Beginnings are not just moments in time. They're states of consciousness. The number 1 is older than any calendar. It's an archetype, a principle that appears in every mystical tradition. In numerology, 1 is individuality, initiative, courage. In alchemy, 1 is the prima materia, the raw essence before transformation. Everything that becomes gold begins here. In astrology, 1 resonates with the sun, the source of light, clarity, and identity. It is the I am principle, presence, not ego. In mysticism, the 1 is unity itself. Plotinus wrote, "The 1 is all things, and no one of them." Meaning, everything rises from one source, but that source is greater than everything it creates. So when we think of 2026 as a year of 1, we're speaking about returning to the source, the beginning of a new internal cycle. Every archetype has a shadow, and the number 1 is no exception. When misunderstood, 1 becomes arrogance, isolation, impatience, the ego trying to divide itself from the world. But its true meaning is the opposite. The real 1 is a doorway, not a wall. It asks what part of us is ready to stand up, to become conscious, to act. Now, Jung called this the process of individuation, not becoming special, but becoming authentic. Now, you can look at the sky of any year and see stories written in light. These are patterns. Now, in 2026, the overall celestial mood talks of consolidation, fraud, disappointment, daring actions, sudden, drastic changes, violence, death, but also faith, awakening, connections, and recognition. This year invites action, not frantic action, conscious action. Here are 3 simple ways to work with this year as an individual. First, try to create something new, a project, a practice, a habit, anything that expresses one's inner truth. Beginnings don't have to be dramatic. They only need to be honest and real. Second, simplify. 1 is the energy of clarity. This is the year to remove what is excessive. Habits, relationships, beliefs, clutter, obligations, anything that keeps you from seeing your own path. Marcus Aurelius said, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." And third, practice solar alchemy. The sun is the ruler of 1. You can try a simple ritual. Face the morning light, breathe, and set a single intention. Not for the whole year, just for that day. 1 intention, 1 action, 1 step. This is how fire becomes form. Try to do that every day. What 2026 is not? Well, it is not a year of guaranteed success. It is not a soft year. There are no predictions here, only potential waiting for consciousness to shape it. Think of it as the flame that begins it all. Every great cycle in life began with a moment like this, intuition, a decision, or a breath. 2026 is saying one thing only. If you're ready to see your life with new eyes, this year will meet you with its own light. Hermetic philosophy teaches that 1 does not control the world, but controls the meaning 1 gives to it. And that meaning shapes our lives more than circumstance ever will. This is true alchemy, the transmutation of perception. Astrologically, the broader themes of 2026 are pretty clear: structural stress, accountability, reevaluation of authority and power, identity under strain. Now, this still may not be collapse, but compression. And compression either produces growth or breakdown. Now, which one occurs depends less on the sky and more on how consciously we respond. Prediction fails in years like this because systems are unstable, variables multiply, awareness alters outcomes, and 2026 is such a year. Trying to predict it creates anxiety or false hope. Orienting within it creates agency. That is why 2026 is a map of conditions. One of the less visible themes of this year is imbalance, not between right and wrong, but between activity and restoration. Many people will continue to work, to act, to endure, yet feel increasingly tired, frustrated, or inwardly stalled. This is the kind of exhaustion that hides behind reliability. The will keeps going, but vitality withdraws. When responsibility becomes too heavy and rest feels unsafe, the body begins to compensate. Ambition remains strong, but no longer nourished. And when effort is no longer supported by inner energy, even small obstacles begin to feel overwhelming. Now, this is not weakness, it is misdirected strength. There is also a second layer to this year, one that shows sudden information, unexpected stimuli, and an inability to regulate what enters our awareness. This can create moments of shock, short but intense and confusing. The causes may be external and objective, but the reactions feel disproportionate, almost unrelated, as if the body reacts faster than the mind can understand. This is where confusion appears, and with it, a kind of nameless fear. Not fear of something specific, but a background sense of unease. Now, the danger is not the sensation itself, but the attempt to interpret it as a premonition, a warning, or a certainty. When awareness is absent, these impressions grow louder and more frightening. When awareness is present, they pass. This year and the ones following challenge us to become more conscious of what we allow into our system. Not everything needs to be processed. Not everything needs a meaning. Stability, silence, and grounded routines are now necessities. The work is not to suppress fear, but to contain it with awareness. Because when pressure is held consciously, it transforms. When it is resisted or ignored, it exhausts. For this year, 3 major tarot cards rise to the surface: Wheel, Magician, and Chariot. Now, this triad describes movement under pressure, not comfort. Wheel of Fortune indicates systemic turning, cycles shifting regardless of personal readiness, structural change rather than personal preference. What was stable becomes unstable. What was ignored demands attention. So this is not luck, it's momentum. In threshold terms, the environment is changing faster than individual belief systems. Next, the Magician. This card shows conscious agency, skill, focus, applied intelligence, the ability to work with conditions instead of denying them. It uses awareness as a tool, not an idea. The Magician does not stop the wheel, he responds intelligently to it. So in 2026, agency exists, but only for those who are present. And the Chariot. This card shows disciplined direction, forward movement through tension, opposing forces that must be held together consciously, progress through self-regulation, not force. The Chariot warns, if you don't hold the reins, something else will. So this is a year of intentional steering, not a year of drifting. With the Wheel, we see cycle completion plus reset. With Magician, initiative, agency, and conscious beginning. And the Chariot adds direction under pressure and movement that requires discipline, not optimism. So the energetic sequence is, the system turns, awareness awakens, and direction must be chosen. 2026 could be a difficult year, but difficulty is not punishment, it's information. Easy years confirm habits, hard years expose them. And 2026 exposes weak structures, borrowed beliefs, unexamined identities, unconscious momentum. And again, that's why prediction fails here. Orientation matters more than outcome. So where to pay attention? People will feel overwhelmed by choices. And the Chariot says, choose fewer things, but choose them consciously. Regulate nervous system, as reactivity will be costly. Awareness must be embodied, not conceptual. Use skill over belief. The Magician rewards practice, learning, adaptability, not ideology. So direction, not speed. Moving fast in the wrong direction will feel disastrous. Slow, deliberate movement will outperform urgency. Favorable colors and crystals used as regulators, not lucky objects. So keep in mind these are supportive frequencies, not magic fixes. Colors for 2026 are deep blue or indigo. This color promotes mental clarity, discipline, truth under pressure. Then we have charcoal or dark gray. This color helps with grounding, realism, structural integrity. Next is muted gold or brass. This color shapes conscious agency without ego. And forest green, not bright. This one promotes nervous system stability. Try to avoid overly bright reds as these are too reactive. Then neon tones, these cause overstimulation, and excessive pastels as they promote avoidance. Crystals should be used intentionally, not obsessively, like hematite, which promotes grounding under pressure. Fluorite promotes mental organization. Smoky quartz helps with nervous system discharge. And maybe labradorite, sparingly, it brings awareness of transition without dissociation. And remember, crystals don't change reality. When people ask what a year will bring, they're usually asking for certainty. But certainty I cannot give you, and it is not what 2026 offers. This is a threshold year, a year where pressure builds, structure strain, and movement becomes unavoidable. Not because something is good or bad, but because systems, personal and collective, are reaching limits. So awareness matters more than optimism this year, and presence matters more than belief. So when you think of 2026, don't imagine a prophecy. Imagine a door, a return to yourself, to your origin, to first note. Plotinus said, "Withdraw into yourself and look. And if you do not find yourself beautiful yet, act as the sculptor of a statue would." This is the year to sculpt yourself anew. Thank you for watching. See you soon. Bye.